Hello, everyone. This is Joe Pusateri, and I am living the sober life. And today I want to say something briefly about step 5. So, as a recap, we have in 12-step recovery the first step, which is the admission that we are powerless over alcohol or drugs or whatever the behavior or substances to which we have become addicted and a slave to. Then we have the second step, which is coming to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. A lot to unpack in that particular step. I have a video about it that you can check out if you haven't already. The third step is made a decision to turn our lives and our will over to the care of God as we understood Him. The fourth step is making a fearless and searching moral inventory of ourselves. That's the big one that most people unnecessarily get scared of and procrastinate on, much to their own peril and discomfort. And then the fifth step is admitted to God, to ourselves, and another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. So, what exactly does that mean? Well, it's like this. In the fourth step, it's not readily apparent when you begin the fourth step, but what you're going to end up with is a good idea and a good list of something that we call interchangeably character defects or our wrongs, or there's another phrase that we use in there. But, things about ourselves that seem to be at the root of our unhappiness and our bad behavior and the motivations that we have to drink or use or whatever it is that we do. So we have these things about ourselves, and they might be the things that we've done to harm other people. It might be the fears that we've had. It might be the tendency we have to do certain things in certain situations, the insecurities that we carry around with us. But we uncover all this really, really uncomfortable stuff, and we uncover good things as well. But for the most part, we're trying to improve our lives. And part of that is taking an inventory of all the kind of nasty stuff that we would prefer to pretend did not exist at all. But in the fourth step, we will uncover it. And the fifth step is taking all of that and admitting to it, to God, to ourselves, and to another human being. Now, God already knows all of this, or at least most people's conception of a higher power is going to assume that God knows all of this. And God knows that we know. But I think that there is something humbling, or let me say that there is a spiritual benefit and there is a sense of connectedness that you will have with your Creator if you are able to adopt the humility to admit these things, to yourself, to admit, acknowledge to yourself that they exist, and also to acknowledge them before God. I think that humbles us. And in the process of humbling ourselves, we let down something that stands as a barrier in between us and our higher power or God, uh, as you will. And then the last part of it is another human being. Ah! So, yes, you will sit down with another human being, and 99 times out of 100, or maybe 990 times out of 1,000, these aren't scientific statistics, but I'm just, that would be my best guess of how often this happens. But most often, in my experience and observation, that person that you take all this to is your sponsor. So in 12-step recovery, you're going to have a sponsor. A sponsor is somebody who has something that you want, and not possessions. They have something in terms of serenity, peace, sobriety. They have the kind of life, and that might include material things too, but they have the life that you're seeking. So they know how to get there, right? And they've demonstrated that they've been where you are right now. And they've worked the steps, they've taken a process, and they have transformed their lives. And if you are going to transform your life and you want your life to resemble that person's life, then, well, you follow them. And sponsors are, in my experience, more than willing to do that because, quite frankly, it's how we stay sober, is helping other people. So you have a sponsor, and the fifth step is confessing all of that to your sponsor. So my sponsor and I sat down and we just took out all the stuff that I had written in my fourth step and we just went through it and I just read it top to bottom. Poor guy was there for hours, but he just listened. And I want to say this is, it's a pretty straightforward step. When you're not there, it seems really scary. I promise you that when you get to that point, you've uncovered a lot of stuff you need to get off your chest. And there's a lot of therapeutic benefit in getting it off your chest. So it's a wonderful, wonderful step. In fact, a lot of people sense a closeness with their creator. They sense a peace they've never had before after doing the fifth step with their sponsor. If it isn't the sponsor, those, one times out of 1,000 or 100 or 100,000, whatever it is, it's going to be, a clergy person, your priest or your minister or a very confidential, friend or, somebody that you can trust. I would not suggest a spouse. Absolutely not, because a lot of times the things that we uncover in our fourth step and the things that we've done wrong, include our significant others, and we have no right to cause them a mental and emotional distress over our behavior just so we can feel better. So I would not recommend that. Maybe someone else would. I don't know. So anyway, so what I want to say about the fifth step is this. The magic of the fifth step, so listen closely. The magic of the fifth step is that you might not know this, but before you did your inventory in the fourth step, there is a part of you that is convinced at a fundamental level that all of that garbage that is yet to be discovered and uncovered and so forth, all of that behavior, all of those anxieties, those fears, all of those habits, that they are you, right? That we are a combination and a compilation of all the nasty stuff that we've done and has been done to us and the things that we have felt, thought, and believed, that is somehow a part of our identity. And that's not true. And the way that we discover that it's not true for real, because I could just say it all day long and you can say it and you can say, well, I believe it and want to believe it. But to make it real, we have to get it out. And when we get it out, we get just this much space, at least, in between us and it. And when it's all out, we have this amazing epiphany. And I don't think a lot of this stuff necessarily happens. You might not think about it this way as it's happening, but I'm just telling you, like when we get it all out, there's a part of us that realizes that's not who I am. It's just stuff that I've done. It's just stuff that I've felt. It's just behaviors that I've exhibited. It's just mistakes that I've made. It isn't who I am. And that's liberating. It's so liberating because if it's who you are, I don't know how you fix that. But if it's just stuff you've done, there's a solution. You can take care of it. You can make amends. You can change your behavior. You can adopt new habits. And so getting it all out and then confessing it to someone else, acknowledging before God that this is your stuff and stuff that you've done, by getting it out, you're actually creating space. And that space means liberation from the power that all of that stuff had over us. And the power that it had over us was the power to make us turn to a drink or a drug again and again and again. There's great liberation in the fifth step. So don't avoid it. All right, that's all I got. My name is Joe Pusateri. I got to get on with the rest of my wonderful, sober life. See you later. Love you all.